I think a lot of people struggle with increasing the weight beyond a certain point. I find people hit like psychologically big numbers, like maybe they can squat 100 kilos and then they'll be able to do that. But then I had a friend like this, he'd squatted 100 kilos for 2 years straight. And I'm like, why don't you increase the weight? And he's like, well, I can't do 110, I'm just too much. And I'm like, yeah, they do 1.25 kg plates, right? Put 102.5 in on the bar and I put it on for him. He did it, right? It's like your brain is not going to realize those small increments. I think it's really important to keep pushing the weight because that's where the size and strength gains are going to come. If you stay at the same weight, you do the same thing, the body's going to adapt. You're not going to keep gaining muscle.
Yeah, I know what you mean about the psychological blocker. I also got to a 100 kilo squat and I was like, okay, well, I want to push further than this. There were a couple of reasons. So the idea, firstly, it got me thinking like, this is just a weight. Like 100 is just a number. What if 100 was actually 110? Or would I keep going to 110 or 120? But the second reason, this may sound like an excuse, is I don't want to push my tendons and my joints to do a 140 squat and a 130 squat on a regular basis.
I would say on that, a 140 squat is not like going to cause any sort of serious problems, especially for your body weight. It's not until you're regularly doing above like 200 or 220 that I would even worry about it. But I think the other one as well, and I'm not saying you do this, but I know a lot of people do this. They're like, I don't want to push it, for whatever reason. And then you look at them and their squat is either really shaky or they're bouncing at the bottom or they're going down really fast. And it just means they don't have control. Like if you think of a weight where you are happy to push, like let's say 20 kg, right? You squat 20 kg, you're happy to put it to 22.5. Why is that? It's because the 20 kg is so light that you can control that weight all the way down, pause, and then explode up with perfect form. And I guess when you look at most people who are like, I don't want to increase the weight, if you look at their form on that weight, it's not that great. So I was talking about high intensity training earlier. I have to say it with the caveat that everything is done really, really, really slowly. At least on the squat, the lowering down is done really slowly, and then I'm going to explode up. So when I'm squatting, it's not about trying to move the weight as fast as possible like I was doing in powerlifting. Put the weight on the bar and I will go down really slowly for a count of 4, right? And then I'll make sure I'm mentally pausing at the bottom. I don't want to bounce. I don't want to use my stretch reflex. Why? Because I want to train my glutes. I want to train my quads. I don't want to just put it into my tendons and everything else and ligaments and just bounce off.
Right.
So I'm going to pause at the bottom and then I'm going to explode up. Now the thing is, if you can get a weight, whatever weight you're on, where you're going down for a count of 4 and then you're exploding up, chances are you can do the weight a bit heavier and go down for a count of 3 or count of 2, right? So doing a heavier weight when you're doing it controlled doesn't feel like a big step versus, for example, when I was powerlifting, I got 210 kg on the bar, going down really quickly, and then I'm trying to explode up. I'm struggling about getting it up. Then my mind's thinking, I don't know if I could do 212. Then you're wondering, whereas if you can control the weight all the way down, you can do a heavier weight, you just might not be able to control it as quick, as fast.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that applies to you and some of the weights that you were thinking about.
For me personally, I'd say it doesn't because I've always focused on being very controlled in my lifts, even if my progressive overload was way slower.
Yeah.
I'd rather progress slowly with perfect form.
Yeah.
But I do know what you mean. Friends I see sometimes friends come in the gym and they're wearing those running trainers with the really soft base.
Yeah.
And then they'll hit their limit of their squats and the knees are doing all this like flapping. And it's quite kind of funny to look at. And then you say, buddy, just do it barefoot. Do it barefoot. It feels a lot nicer.
Yeah.